Dear brothers and sisters, have you ever had moments when it seems like the whole world is against you? Times when the urge to give up is almost irresistible? Maybe you're going through this right now. Today, we will discover the secrets to maintaining faith and hope in difficult times, without giving up. Let's explore the scriptures and learn how to deal with discouragement, understand how to face difficulties with courage and perseverance. But before proceeding, I think you should subscribe to the channel and write the names of your family members, as we will pray for each one of them, seeking protection and blessings for everyone. Leave your like to help us reach more people with this message. Let's talk about the importance of keeping faith, even when all you want to do is give up. We will discuss how patience and trust in something greater can transform discouragement into hope and pain into strength. Stay with me until the end, because together we will find strength and hope to overcome the challenges. Let's seek clarity and divine guidance, and pray a powerful prayer to renew our trust in God, especially in the most difficult times. Our journey in this world is not always easy or free from obstacles. There are times when we are faced with such challenging situations that it is impossible not to feel discouraged and want to give up. Sometimes this makes us question even the presence of God in our lives. In these moments, it feels like we are walking in a dark place, without light or hope. But it is precisely in this place that we can find a deep and comforting truth: God is close to us all the time. Psalm 34 verse 18 reminds us, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit." No matter how great our anguish or how dark our path may seem, God is always with us, feeling our pain and reaching out His hand to lift us up and guide us. Discouragement, although part of the human condition, is not a state we endure alone. God asks us to give Him our worries and sorrows, because He cares about us. Our faith can be tested in these moments of discouragement, but it is also in these times that our faith can find its greatest expression. Trusting God when everything is fine is easy. Now, trusting Him when things aren't working out requires deep, true faith. So, if you are going through a period of discouragement, wanting to give up on something, know that you are not alone. God is with you, walking beside you, ready to transform your discouragement into hope, your sadness into joy, and your despair into faith. He is inviting you to trust Him, to rest in His promises, and to remember that even in the most difficult times, His light is shining upon you. All of us, at some point in our lives, go through periods of difficulty that never seem to end. These phases of prolonged struggle test us in ways we never imagined, causing us to question our resilience and even our faith. It is in this scenario that we are motivated to look beyond what is happening at the moment and to see with the eyes of faith. The book of Isaiah, in chapter 40, verse 31, inspires us, "But those who wait for the Lord renew their strength. They soar like eagles, they run and do not get tired, they walk and do not grow weary." This promise is a powerful reminder that although our journey may be marked by prolonged challenges, our strength comes not from ourselves but from the Lord. Waiting on the Lord is reaffirming our trust in God regularly, ensuring that, even when progress seems slow or non-existent, He is working on our behalf. Waiting on the Lord is also an exercise in faith that teaches us to renew our hope, not in our abilities, but in the immutable character of God. In these seasons of prolonged struggle, we are shaped and strengthened in ways that are only possible through adversity. Like eagles soaring to the heights, we are called to raise our vision and see above the storm, trusting that God will give us the strength necessary to get through this phase. It may seem endless, but it is precisely there that we learn valuable lessons about perseverance and dependence on God. When we feel weak, it is in God that we find the strength we need, the strength that allows us to run and not get tired, to walk and not get tired. God is the source of all strength and renewal. Every step you take in faith is a step toward the victory He promised, and your perseverance is not in vain. In the hands of the Lord, every moment of difficulty is transformed into an opportunity to grow and become stronger. Difficulties are part of life, and facing them requires more than simple resignation. It requires effort and perseverance. During tests, sometimes we find it easier to give in to discouragement and the desire to give up. In the book of Colossians, chapter 3, verses 23 and 24, we are admonished, "Whatever you do, do it with all your heart, as for the Lord and not for man, knowing that you will receive from the Lord the reward of the inheritance." It is the Christ the Lord you are serving. This verse reminds us that our work and our efforts in the face of difficulties must be carried out with a full heart and for the glory of God, not seeking human approval. When we face challenges with this spirit, each action becomes an act of faith and an opportunity to witness to God's hope and faithfulness. Facing adversity with effort does not mean that we should rely solely on our own strengths. Rather, we recognize our dependence on God, seeking His guidance and strength every step of the way. Striving, in this context, is a partnership with God in which we put our energy and determination into action as we trust Him to sustain and guide us. Understanding this not only helps us overcome adversity, but also allows us to grow in the midst of it. Through effort, we learn valuable lessons about who we are and who God is. We discover new strengths, develop resilience, and cultivate a faith that is not easily shaken by life's problems. Face your difficulties with strength and faith, work diligently, trust in God, and know that each challenge faced with perseverance is a step towards growth and spiritual maturity. God is with you in every endeavor, turning your struggles into victories and your tests into testimonies. To face adversity, it is necessary to be excellent in faith. The pursuit of excellence in faith is a calling for all of us, especially when we face long periods of difficulty. Excellence does not mean perfection, but rather an ongoing commitment to living in accordance with Christian values and teachings, regardless of the circumstances around us. The Apostle Paul is a striking example of excellence in faith. Despite facing persecution, imprisonment, and countless adversities, he remained faithful to his calling and served God with all his heart. In his letter to the Ephesians, in chapter 6, verse 7, Paul motivates us to follow this example. "Serve your masters willingly, as the Lord and not men, because you know that the Lord will reward everyone for good whatever he practices, whether he is a slave or whether he is free." This means that, in all our actions, we must seek to please God, not with a selfish motivation, but with a pure heart dedicated to Him. Excellence in faith is reflected in how we react to difficulties. Instead of giving up or questioning God in difficult times, we are called to trust Him even more, deepening our relationship with the Creator and seeking to understand His purpose for our lives. This involves total surrender, where our trust is not in our ability to overcome obstacles, but in God's sovereignty and goodness. When we practice excellence in faith, we also encourage others. Our perseverance and dedication can inspire those around us to also seek a deeper relationship with God. By living our faith in excellent ways, we demonstrate God's love and grace, positively influencing our community and the world. But excellence in faith is an ongoing process of growth and learning. It is not something we achieve overnight, but something we cultivate daily in our relationships with God and others. It is a commitment to live according to Christian principles, always seeking to grow in love, grace, and understanding. Faced with life's countless difficulties, there is a choice that completely changes our journey, choosing to become bitter or better. This decision shapes our entire life, defines our trajectory, our relationship with God and with others around us. When difficulties arise, it is natural to feel frustration, sadness, or even anger. In the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28, we are comforted. We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. This promise does not mean that all situations will be good, but that God can use all situations for our growth and the fulfillment of His greater plan in our lives. Choosing to become better instead of bitter requires a deep trust in God's goodness and purposes. It means believing that even in the most challenging situations, God is working for our good. This choice leads us to seek lessons from our struggles, to grow in empathy and compassion, and to depend more on God in all things. Becoming better in the midst of difficulties turns us into living witnesses of God's redeeming power. Our response to adversity can be a powerful testimony to those around us, showing that, with God, we can overcome anything and emerge stronger than before. This does not mean that we will not feel pain or that we will not have moments of discouragement, but that, through it all, our faith will remain firm and unshakable. On the other hand, allowing difficulties to make us bitter separates us from God and His blessings. Bitterness can consume us, poison us, and harm our relationships. It clouds our vision, preventing us from seeing the blessings and work of God in our lives. It is a weight that binds us to the past, preventing us from moving forward into the future that God has for us. To deal with the temptation to give up, it is essential that we maintain a heart focused on God. Psalm 55 verse 22 encourages us, "Cast your cares on the Lord, and He will sustain you. He will never allow the righteous to fall." Prayer is a powerful way to cast our worries on God. Through it, we communicate our fears, anxieties, and discouragements to Him, seeking peace and guidance from Him. Prayer connects us with God, giving us strength and clarity in times of difficulty. It is through prayer that we find spiritual renewal and a new perspective on our struggles. Now, I want to lead you in a special prayer, asking God to renew our strength and our faith. With this prayer, Lord, You know every detail of my life and the struggles I am facing. In moments of discouragement, when the desire to give up is strong, I turn to You, seeking Your presence and comfort. Strengthen me, Lord, with Your strength and renew my faith. Help me remember that the Lord is always by my side, supporting me every step of the way. May I see beyond the difficulties, seeing Your greater purpose in my life. Wisdom, fill my heart with hope and help me persevere, trusting that, in the right time, the Lord will transform my tears into joy and my struggles into victories. In the name of Jesus, Amen. Dear brothers and sisters, keep faith and hope in God. Remember that He is always with you, ready to guide and strengthen. Do not give up, but persist, trusting in the promise that, in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him. May God bless you and strengthen you in every step of your journey.